So guys, with the start of this new season, we got a bunch of brand new map changes, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the best solo and duo drop spots for you guys in this following season. I want to highlight for you guys what I think are the 3 best solo drops and the 3 best duo drops. Now be sure to use code Sonata YT in the Fortnite item shop if you guys do want to support me. Let's hop right into this video. So I want to start off with some general information about what you should be doing once you find exactly which drop you're going to have. This isn't going to take very long, so be sure to listen up. I'd recommend that you guys do 3 things. These are to create a loot route, to learn the ins and outs of your drop spot, and then to understand where people will be landing around you. All of these 3 things will help you succeed at your drop spot and absolutely pop off when you are playing in the early game. One of the hardest parts for people is actually making it out of the early game once they land at their drop spot, because sometimes they pick a drop spot where they won't be able to fight very well at, or a drop spot that they don't study enough. Now you guys should definitely do those 3 things, but now let's move into the actual drop spots of this video. So to begin, let's go over the solo landing locations. I want to start off by going over the Last Legs beach split. Now this drop spot has been upgraded with the new season. It's going to be having 9 chests, also slurp kegs in the area, along with some mats from the trees, rocks on the beach, and metal structures. You're also going to be having a vault where you can get plenty of materials and also loot from there, along with some boats for rotation, rifts for rotation, and then it's also near Herald's Sanctum, so you guys can get eliminations from there if you need to. Now this is a really good drop spot for those of you guys that want to land somewhere that's a bit more low-key, a bit more uncontested. Yes, there is going to be a major POI near you. However, that's going to be pretty much to your benefit because nobody from that POI is really going to be immediately W keying you because they're going to be focused on their own fights. However, I would recommend that you watch out from stragglers that are coming from that POI that may have low health, low HP, and not very good weapons. You guys want to make sure that those players are taken care of and ensure that they won't try to sneak up on you and then catch you off guard. Now, this split's a big favorite of mine simply because I think that a lot of inexperienced competitive players can land here. You're also going to have the benefit of finding Evo Chrome shotguns, Evo Chrome rifles, and farming trees, which will give you chrome splashes. And as we know, chrome splashes are one of the most important rotational tools in this new season, and you're definitely going to need them for most competitive events. Now let's move on to the second best drop spot. This is personally where I think I'm going to be landing for this season. This is going to be the Gleaming Condosium. Now this is right next to Cloudy Condos. It's going to be having 14 chests. You can get coolers and other resources in the nearby Cloudy Condos POI, along with vending machines and mending machines. And you can also harvest mats from walls, rocks, and metal structures. And it's going to be having plenty of rotation. You're going to have D-launchers for rotation, which is a new item that launches you forward as you get on it, along with balloons. Now all of these things are going to come around to one thing. This POI is somewhere that you can get guaranteed good loot and guaranteed good mats. And also, if you are a more aggressive player, you can W key into the nearby Cloudy Condos POI and continue expanding your loot and getting more kills as you keep playing. That's a really big part of solos, and I think a lot of people overlook POIs that are close to major ones simply because they think that it'll be more contested. And yes, while this POI will be quite contested, you're not going to be overly flooded with a bunch of players trying to fight you off spawn. It's a very manageable place and a place that you can learn like the back of your hand. Gleaming Condosium is really good. I'd recommend you guys check it out, and I think it's really good for players who want to try to play a little bit more aggressive during that early game. And now lastly, I want to go over the third best solo drop spot, which is going to be Shimmering Shrine. Now, Shimmering Shrine is definitely going to be one of the most populous POIs on the map, simply because it is a new POI and it also has very good loot. You're going to be getting 23 chests, along with 10 slurp kegs, and in terms of materials, you're definitely going to have mats from trees, brick from walls, and then metal chrome structures. In terms of rotation, you're definitely going to have a lot of options. Number 1 is going to be the D-launchers, and then obviously you can rotate over to other places in order to get stuff like cars, vehicles, and you can get meds from the med machine in the gas station nearby. But I think the biggest benefit of this POI is that you can loot it very quickly. Even though you have a bunch of people contesting you, you guys can walk through the chrome walls, which is a new feature, and I think it's a very good place for those of you that want to try to land somewhere where you can loot very quickly and get out very quickly. So if you are contested by a large amount of people, a really big benefit is that you'll be able to get in and out as quick as possible. Because once again, there is a chrome part and then there is a non-chrome part. And the people that land in the non-chrome part will be taking their sweet time to loot. And if you land in the chrome part, you're going to be able to loot very quickly. Not to mention that you're going to have very consistent loot due to the chrome chests. I also think that it's really good simply because you can farm trees and get a lot of chrome splashes. Once again, like I said before, those are one of the most beneficial items of rotation in this season. You definitely need to consider Shimmering Shrine, even if it's going to be contested by a large amount of people. I think it's a really good POI for those of you more experienced players who are very confident landing a highly contested place. Now let's move on to the duo drop spots. I'm going to be spending a little bit more time on this simply because I think it's really important that you guys actually understand this. And yes, I do know that there aren't too many duo competitive events announced right now. However, it is still the primary game mode of 2022, and you guys definitely need to consider some duo drop spot options if you guys are playing this season. So to start off, I want to go over the Volcano Station and Temple Split. Now this is located very close to Lustrous Lagoon and Coney Crossroads. I think the really good thing about this POI is that you're going to be having 19 chests across a pretty small area, along with slurp kegs, and then coolers nearby in the area, along with mats from trees, brick walls, and metal structures. And this POI is also going to be very central for your rotation, along with having boats nearby as well. Now, what I think is really beneficial about this POI is that you're going to be having tons of opportunities to actually fight people nearby while not being fully contested by yourself. The split in this POI is one person is going to be landing at the volcano station and the other one's going to be landing at the tiny temple. Yes, the person at the tiny temple won't be having nearly as much loot as the person landing at the station, but I still think it's really beneficial for them to land a little bit separately. Then what you're going to want to do is rotate around the area and collect all the chests, especially the person near the temple, and try to farm up as many mats as you can and then rotate on your way. What I think is really beneficial about this POI is that you're generally going to be having tons of materials simply because that hydro station, you're going to be getting tons of brick and metal from that place. You have pretty much enough to maximize your entire team's material needs, and you can also get really easy storm surge tags on people near Herald's Sanctum or Lustrous Lagoon. Overall, I think it's a great spot for those of you that are newer duos trying to land somewhere a little bit uncontested, and also a place that has some new updates where you can get Evo Chrome splashes from the trees. Now, the next one is going to be a duo drop spot that I've actually covered in the past quite a bit. This is going to be the Beach and Shrouded Settlement split. I think it's a really good split for those of you guys that really want to cover a large amount of area in the lower part of the map. You're going to be getting 20 chests in this place, along with coolers nearby, and slurp kegs scattered across the entire POI. Once again, you're also going to be able to get mats from trees, brick walls, and metal structures. You're also going to once again have boats for rotation on the shoreline, along with some D-pads nearby for you guys to fly away. All of these methods are extremely useful for rotation, but I think the reason I recommend this drop spot to a lot of people is simply because it's very uncontested. I'd actually argue that this is a little bit more uncontested than the area that I recommended at first. The Beach and Shrouded Settlement split is actually a pretty close by split, and it's a really good spot for those of you guys that want to loot very quickly. It's not a very big place, but it has a high concentration of chests in a small amount of area. The only thing that you guys need to do is learn the locations of those chests like I mentioned before. Because if you get lost in this POI, you're going to be missing out on a lot of free loot, and you're not going to be able to maximize the efficiency of your guys' looting. What's important is that you land at this POI and you find out exactly how to rotate depending onto the zone, since it is a slight ways away from the center of the map, and you're also going to be blocked by a major POI, which is Fort Jonesy if you guys don't know. You can rotate there to easily get a bunch of kills if you guys choose, but I think that this POI is really good for more passive players if you do land here. And basically the way you're going to be landing here is you're going to have one person land on the beach and one person land at Shrouded Settlement, and you're going to loot your areas and then meet up and farm and rotate. It's pretty self-explanatory. And of course, the last duo's POI is going to be Cloudy Condos. This is my personal favorite POI currently. I think it has the best loot to size ratio. It's going to be having 40 chests, also a ton of coolers, a ton of slurp kegs. You're going to be having plenty of vending machines, tons of vending machines, along with all the new balloons and supply drops inside of those. Once again, you're going to also have vaults inside of those balloons. Also mats from trees, brick walls, and metal structures, of course. And lastly, D-pads and hot air balloons for rotation. Now, I think that if you guys are a duo and you're choosing to land at a major POI, this is by far the best place to go. Simply because you're going to be having so much loot that's in such a small area that you can loot very quickly. Also, I think that the layout of this POI is really good for off-spawn fighting. I don't think that there's any weird places that builds can be placed. I think that it's pretty self-explanatory when you do fight here. It's kind of just like box fighting. There's not too many places you can build very specifically. I also think that the elevated area of the actual Cloudy Condos is a very important spot, simply because if you do learn how to land there, you're going to be succeeding way more than the people on the lower ground level. It also gives you the benefit of added storm tags. That's a really big benefit if you guys didn't realize. Storm surge tags are really tough to get, especially considering the brand new storm surge changes that have just taken effect. You definitely need to maximize those, and Cloudy Condos is one of the best places for it. It's also not too far from the newer POIs, so you can get some chrome splashes if you do choose to go there. I think it's a really good spot. What you guys are going to want to do is make sure that if you're contested, which you definitely will be, you're going to land somewhat together and then loot the areas around you until you're both equipped to fight. And then if you're not contested, then you guys should land at opposite sides of the POI and then continue looting the entire thing in order to maximize the amount of loot that you actually get. Overall, I think all methods for this POI actually work, which is why I think it's so good. So I'd highly recommend it to all of you duos out there that are looking to succeed in competitive and you feel very comfortable landing at a highly contested point of interest. Anyways, guys, that is the video on the best solo and duo drop spots for Chapter 3 Season 4. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel down below. I really liked making this video simply because I feel like there's a lot of really good map changes this season. I think that you guys are really going to enjoy the competitive meta as the season goes on, and I think that there's a lot of good things coming in the future. But obviously, that is it for this video, guys. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.